What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Yeah, guys, new week, a new opponent, and some new information on our Dallas Cowboys as we kick into overtime here in a new week of My Cowboys Family, a new week of training camp, and the final week of preseason with some, we got some great stuff to discuss tonight, as well as some fantastic, raffles, I guess you can say here, coming from the skeptical one. We'll talk about it here in a moment, but first.
Yes, lots of new, right? But we got to talk about the old, as in the old school representation here, not just once, but twice, back to back.
Like our 90s Cowboys, and you know why he's here, baby. Who's the Cash App King? Who's the sponsor week the last 2 weeks in a row?
Snug X.
Much love. Throw up the X. Snug X, repping that star for everything. Appreciate you, as always. And again, truly appreciate your support for everything on this side. We know that MCW is the draw here, but we appreciate you getting into the Cowboy discussions as well. So much love to Snug X, repping it here 2 weeks in a row, half a month, half a training camp. Snug X in full effect. Also, another champion, you'll see his name scrolling up to the top there. When it comes to our gifting memberships, guys, yes, we have memberships here. You got Super Chat, you got memberships. You can jump into a Navy Blue Crew, Silver Level 2, Star Over Everything level, and then the Star level, and then the Over Everything level. So it's 4 different kinds of memberships you can jump into. But if you're in any of those membership groups, you are able to gift memberships to a lucky family member in the chat. And currently, of course, it's all zero. Jason Renfro, Skeptical Fan, Bobby Bottles. We got a three-peat in the house. Jason Renfro, 3 weeks in a row, dominating the gifting board. So truly appreciate the man, JR, Jason Renfro. And, before him, 3 months in a row was Skeptical Fan. So they're the ballers of that gifting crew right there. And appreciate all of you in the mix on that side of things. Yes, the gifting champ, Jason Renfro, last week with 13 gifted memberships. So make sure you thank him and Skeptical Fan and Bobby Bottles if you guys received a gifted membership. Now, talked about, by the way, the leaders right now. Well, we'll talk about them in a minute. Stubby, 1085. He's the leader with Izzy points. Israel Mukwamu, 24.
Right.
Much love to Stubby, repping it on the stream, boss. But as far as the leaders are concerned, there is no gifting leader as of this moment. There is no overall leader as of this moment. And there is no Cash App King at this moment. Speaking of the Cash App King, like I said, we have Super Chat, membership gifting. There's a thanks button. You can drop love through there. There's 4 other ways that kind of fall into the Cash App King side of our competition here. So, baby, what's the other ways people can help out the channel in case these other means don't work for them?
Of course, you have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, your regular PayPal link, and last but not least, of course, the Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat.
Got to shout out the star level members because they're the stars here. Star level members, Lincoln Kane all the way from Australia, Mary Alvarez, much love to her, Andy Potch back in the mix. We got, of course, the top dog, Dwayne Broussard, and you got Skeptical Fan, and you got Jason Renfro. Much love to all 6 of them because there is something special coming on the way, baby. Around the corner when it comes to the star level member shit, and we got an announcement now, right? The date of this, and I guess I wish Skeptical's in the house. I hope he is. In fact, why don't you do the shout outs real quick, and then we're going to announce what's coming around the corner here as far as a fantastic, give back to the family here from the gifting master here for the last 3 months, Skeptical Fan. We'll discuss that in a minute, but baby, open this thing up, and who's in the house tonight? As we got our cartoon faces on the screens here.
Let's see, we have Clark motherfucking Kent in the house, much love. No, unfortunately, Deuce is a rookie, so rookies are the only jerseys that are not available.
You gotta wait till next year. I'm actually trying to find out which rookies from last year are available. I'm assuming Tyler Smith.
Yeah, those tend to take a little bit longer, but they do tend to be available. Usually shortly after the season starts, you have the previous year's rookies available.
They might be available now. I'll have to double check. I know the Mosh Man sent me all the info, so I'll be talking to him again later, so I'll get that info, but it's no rookies. I know they're off the board right now, but everything but rookies is pretty much available. Legends, guys that are in the second year, not backups too often. It depends on the guy, but I'm looking for Tyler Smith as probably my next eyeball jersey for me personally, repping that offensive line.
I'm not 100% sure. I've gone back and forth offense defense, so I'm still a little undecided on what my next one's going to be, but I have a little more time to wait before unlike Mr. MCF, who's up next. Anyway, real quick, let me keep rolling the shout outs. We have Asmodeus representing, much love, Kenzie Bands in the house, and he's saying if you watch that Commanders game, their star receiver got his ankle rolled on, and then he didn't play for the rest of the game, and that's why
you don't play your starters. And I was going to actually bring that up. That was my opening thing tonight. So thanks for jumping in front of that one, Kenzie.
We're like kicking things off.
We're all on board to kicking off a new week. Right?
Yeah, Rolando Rodriguez, much love. So, oh man, please stay safe out there on the West Coast. Hopefully, yes.
Yeah, hopefully everyone gets through that.
Preserve the man cave. Cactus G in the place to be, of course. We have 6'8" in the house. Thanks for rolling through.
I heard Shango. I saw a video he did. His kid's room was flooded. His different parts of the house was flooding. It was horrible. I feel so bad for him. So everybody out there, stay safe.
Man. So, I knew the flooding was going to be like
one of the
bigger
mountains
concerns.
Too. I mean, they're living that movie star life, Hollywood.
I mean, you guys out on the West Coast probably know more than we do, but from my understanding, the bigger problem was like the hurricane was going to hit in areas that were susceptible to flooding.
Exactly.
I know that's obviously, we've been lucky enough, knock on wood, that's not as much of an issue, but technically where we live now, it's more of a risk than where we lived previously, so that's something that we definitely keep a closer eye on these last few years.
Yeah, hurricane-wise, right? And you guys in the West Coast don't get many of those, but hurricane, earthquake, it's crazy. Flooding. Just be safe out there.
Just waiting for the locusts and the frogs to show up.
They got the wildfires too. The fire. I mean, it's just crazy. So hopefully everyone stays safe out there in the West Coast. Listen, we rep the West Coast here because we're in the East Coast, but we know a lot of our fan base is in the West Coast and Hawaii. So appreciate the Cowboy fans repping that star over everywhere. West Coast, Hawaii, and beyond.
Yes. Let me see. We also have Hector Colon in the house. Scorpio. Gotta stay hydrated.
I hope Orion Files in the house, by the way. Dropping the new emojis. If you're in a membership, you can start dropping those Las Vegas haters. The Las Vegas hater logos. We've placed out there so nicely for you guys to enjoy.
As always, thank you, baby. Let's see. Texas Twister in the house as well. What's up? Kind of rolling back here. I'm almost there. Let's see. Madman, much love. Yeah, and the Overshown injury. Obviously, a few people are trickling in today that weren't able to chat with us
about that
in the moment or yesterday. So yeah, that
we're going to revisit that a little bit. But again, Overshown, you can see him right there in the thumbnail. He's got leadership mindset. He's got that kind of that potential for the future of leadership, and I think he was heading that way so early in his rookie year. I'm hoping that he'll be able to regain, and he sounds like he will regain his ground to kind of pick up where he left off. We'll see. But I know somebody who's picking up right where he left off. Jason Renfro dropping that dollar holler.
Ooh, Jason.
That puts him in first place on the board, baby. Just like that. The leader, Jason Renfro.
Do you know what he had to say?
Yo, Cowboys.
Always. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate that.
Maybe he's trying to tell us something. 23 points in the stream boss now. Rico Dowdle, is he edging out number 34, Malik Davis? We'll talk about that. Number 23, Rico Dowdle.
We'll have to see. I think I got 04. Jumps and Cowboys, much love. So, yeah, hey, Jumps and Cowboys said, I predict around 700 yards for Deuce. Because Deuce is on the loose. Like, sharing time with Pollard.
I hear you. That's too much. I don't think he'll get that. I'm being honest here. I mean, I think if he does that, he's going to be a freaking Pro Bowl Hall of Famer, this guy. So I'm just saying, I just don't see it happening.
700 overall when you combine receiving and rushing.
I think I'm going to wait to see how the season develops, but the combined, I agree. Just the rushing, I'd be hard pressed to see that.
I know, but just throwing it out there.
It's not an opportunity.
There's a few different ways you can finesse that. By the way, Astic Aguilar, glad to hear it. He's in the inland area of Southern Cali. He said he didn't get hit like the LA area. Mother Nature said, "Oh, a flood? How about an earthquake?" Go with that.
I heard about that too. We talked about it yesterday, man. I hope everybody's truly safe out there.
So so the final quick comment here, because I see 6'8". I know you asked earlier in the beginning of the stream, like, how do you feel about Mazi Smith? Like, what are people's thoughts on Mazi? Cowboy fans are a fickle bunch sometimes. I'm just saying. It went from we love Mazi to now we hate Mazi.
No, it's funny. It's funny that we're saying this because literally these are the things we're talking about tonight. You can see the thumbnail, but Mazi Smith, solid according to McCarthy. We'll talk about that. And I'm going to talk about that because I put up a video short and I'm getting a lot of flack for it because it shows some of Mazi's bad plays. Some people trying to describe and try to teach me that this is, you don't understand what you're talking about. He's supposed to do that stuff. He's not supposed to get washed out of plays. He's not supposed to get overrun the plays. And sometimes it's not his fault. Sometimes it's the guy next to him. But I'm gonna give it. Listen, here we do good, bad, and ugly. So you gotta have thick skin here. All right, all of us, myself included, we all have to have thick skin. We all take the criticism. And maybe your favorite guys, not starting off so great. Does that mean he's a bust? A lot of these idiots think so. No offense to anybody if they're saying that, but I'm just saying, like, a lot of these big name people, 2 fucking games and he's a bust. Stop it. The defensive tackle, we talk about this since he got drafted. It's always the one that takes the longest to develop into the true height of your not your trajectory, but your height of your potential. So you kind of reach all your equipment and tools that you can use going forward. That's going to then make you continue to rise on that stuff. But it's not about the sacks.
D linemen aren't minute rice guys. Like, it's not like you pop them in the microwave 60 seconds later they're done or something. They take a while to get there.
And that's why people like Jordan Davis last year, you don't pick these guys in the first round. That's the big hit. Why do you take it? It's okay to take them, but you don't take them in the first round. That's the big kind of thing. So when you take Mazi Smith, we're all expecting the numbers and this and that. Look, if you watch them, we talked about it. I did not expect any sacks anytime soon from Mazi Smith, and you can see it when he's playing out there. That's one of his weaknesses, but that's okay. We knew this. So everyone, we're good. I think the main thing is him being able to take on his blocks. We heard Dan Quinn yesterday say this. Mazi takes on the double teams. We're good. Everybody, listen. LVE, Damone Clark, the safeties, the other guys, Osa, they're going to mother effing eat. They're going to get the stats. That's what matters. It doesn't matter if Mazi don't get any stats, because if he's doing his job, we win. That doesn't matter. So to me, if he does his job, I don't care if he has a tackle in every game. And he gets, in the end of the season, he has 17 tackles and no sacks. If the defense stops the run as a whole, then Mazi's doing his job. Mazi's a big win as a first-round pick. I will say this now. Going into the second and third year, I want to see his development as a 3-down player, as a pass rusher, if possible, right? That's the goal for him, but not this year. For me, that was the way I looked at Mazi. But if you look at Mazi Smith, can he consistently take on double teams and hold his ground and not get moved from the gaps and his gap assignment? Then if he can do that more than not, then we got ourselves a fantastic player. Now, I also want to say one last thing. Aaron Donald, one of the very few interior defensive tackles that are going to come in year one and dominate. That doesn't happen usually. So if they're there, they're gone in the first 10 picks.
The type of guys on D-line that tend to dominate early tend to be the guys that get picked top 10.
Exactly. Again, those top 10 guys that are defensive tackles are usually, they get better. Russell Maryland's, right? You got to have Aaron Donald's. Those have to be disruptors from day one. The first round, late first rounders and the second rounders and beyond, they're going to be, impactful, but they're not going to be necessarily 3-down guys. They're not going to be, at the top of their game yet until their second or third year. That's it. I mean, I'm being real. Mazi did not show out very good.
Jason Renfro said it, though. Not Mazi's job to get sacks. His job's to fill the gap.
Correct.
Gaps, I should say. Stop the run.
All right, take on those double teams so they don't. So you keep the linebackers clean. The linebacker staying right behind Mazi. If the offensive lineman blocks Mazi and then goes to the next level and blocks the linebacker, they got a 5-yard gain. Mazi keeps the guy busy longer, just even a half second. That's all we need. LVE clogs a hole and it's a no gain.
Look, let's be honest. The biggest problem with offensive linemen and defensive linemen, not exactly the sexiest position. It is the reality, right? And especially when you're playing one of the maybe least sexy positions out of an already not so sexy position, it does leave, I think, a lot to be desired, because I think most football fans still want to see tangible results and stat lines from their players. And when you're talking defense, especially D-line, you're looking for things like sacks, right? You're looking for things like pressure or run stops, or, you know, all those other metrics that they use. And Mazi will never be the type of guy that's going to show up on there as much as maybe we would want.
Right.
That's just reality.
That's the reality of the situation. He's not going to show up.
Once maybe a few people adjust their expectations. And honestly, I think a few people even said in the chat, wait till you see him with our starters as well, because so far we've really only seen him with backups. Once you see him with starters, continuing to develop, I think a lot more people will say, okay, I'm willing to continue to see him develop.
That's another thing I wanted to
Clark
say. But I wanted to say that too. That's a great point that we brought up here yesterday. And when you got him with the other starters, he becomes like the focal point now. He becomes like the 4th or 5th or 6th guy you're worried about in defense.
Exactly.
And that's going to be big.
And thank you so much, Clark fucking Kent, with the $2 holler here. He said, any interest in Deion Jones? You know, he knows Quinn well. Again,
we're going to talk about some options.
Yeah, and there was a handful of comments made as well by Jerry and Steven, both of the last handful of weeks, just kind of insinuating that, yes, of course, there's still a chance and we're still not done doing the things we do. You have to imagine that a few of these little injuries might open up the possibility for the Cowboys to be open to bringing somebody in. I'm still kind of very much holding my breath on that, but I do admit that the chances have increased. So... real quick, I want to hit on one or two more comments, and do want to take the time here because Skeptical Fan is in the chat, so we can officially go ahead and shout that out.
First, a shout out to the person who dropped the love from above, right? You already talked about Deion Jones. By the way, Clark Kent, I have 2 guys. That could be a 3rd guy I'm going to talk about soon. Maybe another day, but Deion Jones is definitely an option for the Cowboys. And by the way, Clark Mother effing Kent is in mother effing first place right now on the overall board. So just like that, he's there. Ooh. Yes, and so baby, I'm gonna.
Yeah, Q Ball saying it. Jordan Davis struggled his first year.
Exactly. I mean, most of these guys will struggle in their first year, but.
Skeptical Fan throwing out there as well. The Cowboys are asking Mazi to play differently than he did in college. So, of course, there's going to be
Dan Quinn made that
more
point
of a learning curve there, too, because he's adjusting his technique. Yep. You know, and let's be honest, technique is one of those things that ends up becoming second nature to a lot of players. So, it takes time to break them of those habits. And most NFL coaches will say that there's usually a handful of bad habits that most players come into the league from college. Not necessarily that they're bad, but with the differences between college and NFL.
You sharpen them up. That's
exactly.
All.
So, honestly, we saw a few of those little mistakes. Not even a mistake, but I think a great example was, remember that one play, I think it was the first preseason game, where we weren't sure. There was 2 players after a receiver caught the pass, they weren't sure if they touched him or not when he went down.
I remember that.
I'm just trying to say, it's that type of little thing that
little details,
you wouldn't necessarily think twice about, but as soon as you see them fuck it up, oh man, you remember it now, don't you? So anyway.
Now,
real quick, Clark, I'm so glad you like it. Yeah, Asmodeus, that's why we really do not like some of the discourse around Mazi. So hopefully there's ways to discuss when players don't do good without turning it into, oh my goodness, they suck.
Right. We are allowed to criticize Mazi Smith and say, okay, that wasn't it. We're not going to sit here and lie to you. That's silly. That's fooling ourselves. We're not like that. We are realistic. But the realistic, you got to look at when I say realistic, it also includes that Mazi Smith is still a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
It's just give him a
with
time.
Hankins
Take a breath.
right next to him too. Drums and Cowboys.
I'm just saying, Hankins, Micah, Demarcus Lawrence, Armstrong, even. I'm just saying, LVE and Damone Clark. It just doesn't stop, and all the secondary that comes up to help. And then you got Mazi sitting there. Come on.
Now look, everybody gets by with a little help from their friends, and right here at MCF, guys, we are very, very lucky to have such wonderful people. And most especially, a huge thank you to Skeptical Fan, who is gifting the love once again.
Yes, a big gift
to the MCF family members here. So guys, there's never been a better time to join into that navy blue, silver, or star.
Yeah, or
but this is an extra special shout out and love to all the navy blue. So guys, if you are a navy blue member, thanks to Skeptical Fan, you have the chance to enter for one of these 4 awesome prizes, and these are 4 individual winners.
Right,
so
you got 4 different winners on this here. All you gotta do is be in the navy blue crew.
That's right, and I think the way we're gonna do this is, again, the first winner gets their first choice from one of these 4 prizes. Again, we have 2 awesome lady shirts because the whole family's got to rep the Cowboys here. So for that lucky lady in your life who loves the Cowboys, mom, sister, hey, it's yourself too. I don't know who's listening out there, right? So
Cassie might be out there.
Awesome wonderful Cowboy shirts. And, of
Point
course...
them out. Make sure they know. It's that Forever
Yes.
a Cowboys fan on the top left. And then the one with just the football, the 5 stars,
Yes.
6 stars. That's for that 6th. And that Cowboys right there. So that's the 2 ladies' shirts, right?
Yes,
Now
and of course, you know, we can't ignore the gentleman either, right? That awesome puro pinche Cowboys cap there on the
Yeah.
bottom right. Although I guess if you're a lady with a big head, that works for you too.
It works. It's a flat bill. It's nice.
Yes.
You know, those are individually like
And I do have to admit,
artwork right there on the hat.
maybe I'm a little biased here, but with all the Dak hate, that shirt just
Fits perfectly.
I love it. I love it.
I was
Yes.
like, I want to win that.
Let them hate. Let them hate. Let the hate flow through them.
The most hated number 4 right there. Forever our quarterback. As long as he's our Cowboy, he's as long as he's a Cowboy and he's wearing that star, he's our quarterback. And that's again, it's not just blind support here. We know this is one of his best chances, best opportunities to do the best probably he's ever done in his career in this offense.
Yes,
with this system and with these players.
I know everyone's like, okay, so what do I got to do? Super simple, super easy. Are you a Navy Blue member? Congratulations, you're in.
There you go.
Bam, that is it, guys.
That was from Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Bobby Bottles, everybody else, Scorpio. You guys
Yeah, so thank you to
gave
everybody
in a
who's-
lot.
yes.
Gave a lot to the gifted side of things, and those are all Navy Blue members. If you're lucky enough to be one of those 100 people in the house, consider yourself very lucky and thankful. Now, again, you got to stay in this group here, right? By the time I guess the weekend comes, when we do this raffle, probably what, Sunday, I guess.
Yeah.
So on Sunday we do this raffle. You guys got to still be in the Navy Blue crew. You can't be in it. You can't be in this raffle. But everybody, you have 4 winners from our whole Navy Blue, section. And again, extra special thanks to Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Bobby Bottles, Scorpio, and others that have dropped gifted memberships.
Yeah,
to
showing
get
the
people
love,
in there.
sharing the love. Really appreciate
Is
it.
there any way? And I have a question. Is there any way you can get 2 memberships in this? In any way? I mean, not 2, but 2 raffle entries in this. I thought that if you had jumped in on your, if you jumped in. On your own,
So, sorry,
Yeah. All right.
we did discuss that. So, yes, of course, gifted memberships, super awesome, amazing. We always love and appreciate that. But if you do join the membership on your own,
Yeah.
right?
Like if
It's
you
not a
decide to-
gifted membership. You
Right.
do get a bonus entry for that. So,
yeah, we'll get you in there and give you a little extra props if you're one of the OGs in that way.
I figured it was a good way to kind of show some extra love for the people who...
I want to make sure Skeptical is cool with it all. You know, we discussed that. We talked about it real quick, and kind of cleared it up a little bit earlier. But we kind of knew what direction we were going to go with this as we got closer to today's kickoff of this. Again, much love and appreciate Skeptical Fan for doing this, and hey, the family here in the Navy Blue crew, congrats. Now we will have, again, the star level membership. That's next weekend. So that's for the star level. We're going to have, and the over everything level if you jump in there. We also have, we're going to have, of course, other perks that are going to really be beneficial to that silver level. So make sure
we
you
have
stay
something
tuned.
in our sleeves for everyone,
Yes.
but an extra special thank you to Skeptical Fan
Yes.
for this special Navy Blue raffle, and of course, can't wait to see who the lucky winners are going to be.
Yes,
So-
can't wait. So much love and appreciate you, Mr. Skeptical Fan, and for this, and of course,
Yes.
everybody who's gifted memberships.
And good to know, by the way, Skeptical. We'll keep that in mind there. So, Rolando Rodriguez, not sure. I think Mr. MCF, I think McCarthy did touch on that, but I don't think there's been any specific word on when the rookies are getting surgery on their torn ACL. Since we got a whole pair of them.
Yeah, we'll discuss that, but I don't think that was.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that's been specifically mentioned. You do have to imagine it'll be sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I'm assuming so.
But with that type of injury, I mean,
Sometimes you gotta wait for swelling to go down.
I was just about to say.
one
I
of those
remember, wasn't it Michael Gallup?
Yep.
Who
Yep. It
waited
was Gallup.
almost a month
Yep.
to have his surgery because they wanted to wait for some swelling to go down. Obviously, it's hard to say if that ended up affecting his recovery time or not, considering he did look rough last season. But considering that he did come back last season a little bit earlier than expected, maybe it did have some positive effect on his recovery.
We'll see. I mean, again, the mental part is different than the actual physical part with you in that
Very.
field. So, so we get going, baby. It's time to
let's-
kick it
let's
off. We haven't
keep it
kicked it off
rolling.
yet. We just.
I think technically we kicked it off a tiny bit there because Kenzie Barnes touched on it a little bit with that
Yeah.
Commanders game.
Yeah.
And I know some guys got banged up in that. So
Yeah, well, look, let's talk about the game. First and foremost, it's important to note that the Ravens did lose 28-29 in the last 10 seconds. 10 seconds left, and kicker for Washington kicked the field goal to beat the Ravens 29-28 in Washington. Now, here's the interesting part about it. The Commanders were celebrating this is like winning the Super Bowl. They're 2-0, but heading into this matchup tonight, the Commanders I mean, the Commanders are the opponent, but the Baltimore Ravens had won an NFL record 24 straight preseason games until tonight.
Damn.
Came to an end. So I guess this is kind of like the Super Bowl for the Washington Commanders. The Ravens, last time they lost a preseason game before tonight, September 3rd, 2015. Now, in this game, and this is what we were saying throughout the week and even throughout the game when we were watching our game, Cowboy game, and when Overshown went down, we said, this is why you don't play your starters. The Commanders said that wide receiver Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, has a toe injury, will not and did not return to the game. That just ended an hour ago or so. The X-rays on his toe were negative, so that's good news for him. But again, it almost looked like the Tony Pollard ankle injury. If they had landed a little differently, it could have been like that. This is a preseason game, right? It was not done on purpose, but his foot got caught underneath, and it looked like his foot broke. It's not his foot, but his toe. They'll have to see again. They say it was negative, but they'll have to take a little more.
At least when it comes to breaks, it was negative. That doesn't mean, like you said, there could be some ligament damage or just muscle damage, and even if it's not, it still looks like he's going to be in pain for a little while.
Listen. The feet of a receiver are so important. So again, this is something to monitor. But this is another reason why maybe you don't overdo it with the starters in the preseason games. I don't know. Look, I'm not saying it's pro or cons. It could happen both ways. It could be bad. It could be it could be good experience for them on the field. But either way, injury is going to happen.
Look, there's a reason I joke that the only thing that works here, McCarthy had it right. Abstinence really is the only answer. But real quick, Kenzie
Band's in the house, part of the band here.
Representing
at MCF,
that membership for 3 months. Much love, Kenzie Bands. And he said, man, I'm so glad I came across you guys, MCF. Keeps me feeling good when football season's over and when football season is here. Man, I love you guys and go.
Man, that's
MCF.
awesome,
Thank
Kenzie.
you so much, Kenzie. Seriously.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you so much.
This is what I would do. I want somebody out there I could connect with in a football mindset way. And to me, I just do what I think I would want to hear. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, the wife tags along. She's off here and there a night or two, but
somebody has to keep you humble.
But outside of that, it's like we enjoy doing this, talking with the family, letting our football thoughts get out there as well, mixing it up with the fans in a good way, right? In an advantageous way, so we all learning and grow together in this thing. So thank you, Kenzie. Appreciate those words. Now, into the NFL news, we talk about the game today. The Colts. We know about Jonathan Taylor. Well, today it was officially announced that the Colts have given him the permission to seek a trade. And right now there's conversations going on where he can be traded to. There's a real deal going on here.
Okay.
It's getting set up. Several GMs and talent evaluators were informed earlier today that he was available for trade. The Colts, you know what they're asking for? First of all, Jim Irsay said, we don't need a running back. Running backs are not important. But they're seeking a first-round pick. It's not important why you're demanding a first-round pick. But they said he also mentioned a package of picks that equates to a first-round pick to potentially get Jonathan Taylor in a trade. Now, rumors are circulating when it comes to what matters, and that's that star over everything. When it comes to our Cowboys, the word is the Cowboys, in case you guys are wondering, we're not actively seeking or exploring a trade to try to acquire Jonathan Taylor. So just so you guys know.
What a relief.
Yeah, we got Tony Pollard. We're good. All right. So, according to other insights, the Cowboys' assessment suggests that the Cowboys, probably don't have. They're going to tell they have $20 million available. Yeah. They're saying that it's not going to fit a trade because of the money situation. Of course, the cap, the pie, is what they like to talk about. We know it's a lie. The reason is because they don't want to spend another whatever money for a running back when they have Tony Pollard already, which is the right move by the front office. So no clownage there. Now, moving on from. Well, not moving on, but I just wanted to touch on one last thing about the Jonathan Taylor situation. The Carolina Panthers, got 4 draft picks last October for Christian McCaffrey from the Niners.
Yeah.
And they got a second rounder in one of those picks, no first rounder. The Colts want, get more. I guess you could say that they want to kind of move from him. So it's hard to find a trade partner, but the point is
they're seeking somewhat similar compensation.
Yes,
basically.
Yes, and. The hope is still a first rounder, but in the end, there's a lot of ways to get there. So there multiple second rounders, a lot of picks, maybe something in between.
Maybe it's just me.
What do you think?
Seems a little rich for my blood, even outside of a Cowboys context. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time seeing what types of teams would be willing to spend that capital. And
I got one team already. I know it's in one of the major teams already looking at him. The Chicago Bears. They've mentioned they want to make. I'm hearing they're making some moves.
That does make a little bit of sense. If you would have told me, the Bengals too, that would, again, not saying I still think it's worth it, just saying it makes sense. So, okay, the Bears at least make sense. Still seems like a lot, but
I mean, you guys.
I don't know. I guess that's what I'm saying. I guess there's other considerations.
The money consideration is why the Cowboys say they won't do it.
I do think that they're going to have to compromise at least a little bit there. That still feels like a tiny bit too much, but I guess someone's out there desperate enough to do it.
Well, how about this? The Raiders. We're going to play the Raiders this week, right? This weekend. Josh Jacobs. Remember him? He's holding out right now, guys. He skipped all training camp. He's on a tag right now. He's ending his holdout. He's reporting to the Raiders before Week 1 against the Broncos.
All right.
So he's coming back. But again, Josh Jacobs, a guy who's trying to he's the leading rusher last year. He can't get paid. So Jonathan Taylor, leading rusher the year before that in the NFL, he's trying to get paid with a new team now.
Very different than Zach Martin's holdout.
Oh, yeah, whole different. So the Bears, they did acquire somebody. Former Bears wide receiver Anthony Miller, who had a couple good years. I think he was injury plagued, signing with the Niners. So, again, a team that we're looking at in competition in this NFC conference. So the Niners get a little bit better there if he stays healthy. He played for the Texans and the Steelers, but he's a big speed threat for Kyle Shanahan's offense. So
the Cooking Soul.
Woo.
Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate you. Much love.
And welcome to the family here at MCF.
Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys. So, again, Anthony Miller now with the Niners. They're going to try to use his speed in Shanahan's offense. I did want to say another receiver, which we're hearing this once again. I don't know how much weight there is to this, but now we're hearing, and it broke today sometime, that Stephon Diggs wants out of Buffalo, per Stephen A. Smith.
So I guess those rumors earlier in the offseason were true then. I have to say, we heard some percolations of that. We kind of dismissed it because I don't know, it didn't seem like it was that big of a deal. But hey, I know somewhere. I know a place. I know a spot.
And again, with Jalen Tolbert's emergence, there ain't no spot here. We got Brandon Cooks next year, 2 years. Now, if you want to take out Gallup, then you're going to put in Tolbert. I'm saying for next year. So I don't see any way the Cowboys are bringing Stephon Diggs, unless Trayvon Diggs wants to take a pay cut for his brother to come here. I don't know.
Well, actually, I was going to say, I think you're talking to the wrong Diggs brother as far as taking pay cuts. I think if Stephon is willing to negotiate with the Cowboys on some salary or some incentives, the Cowboys should jump on that yesterday. Just from a marketing standpoint, I think Jerry would absolutely love to have the Diggs brothers, spearheading this team.
Then you got to take back the $13 million from Gallup and push that towards the Diggs contract, and you might not be able to pay CeeDee Lamb. You might have to take a choice there. I'm just saying that's what you're losing here. I don't like that choice. I like what we got now. I know Stephon Diggs is fantastic. I know it'd be great. His brother is there. If he wants to come to us, he's gonna have to take a huge pay cut, and that's not gonna happen. I'm just gonna tell you.
I know, but there is. I have to admit, there's a bigger part of me than I thought that wants to do stupid shit to get Stephon Diggs on this team. So I'm not doing it. I know
it's not. And Mr. Cowboy saying, Jerry Jones might want, again, like you said, it's about the marketing value of that, but also I don't think that. I don't know. Jerry Jones will give up the picks for this. I don't know, but then you have the money.
Jerry would absolutely be open to having Stephon.
The money situation is where I think is a big hit, and now you really can't pay Micah now. What are you going to do? So I'm taking Micah over everyone. Sorry, except for the star. I'm taking Micah over every player you can throw at me. You say Dak, I say Micah. You say CD, I'm saying Micah. I'm just telling you. Tell me any player in the NFL, I say Micah. I'm just laying it out for you for real.
Well, you know what's actually going to happen, though, right? Stephon Diggs is going to end up somewhere in the NFC causing a ruckus for us.
In the NFC East, probably.
Anyway, that's all. That's all. That's our luck. That's our luck.
One last, I guess, this is actually Cowboys related too, but one last NFL news tidbit here. We know Anthony Brown worked out with the Ravens, and they didn't sign him. He had a good workout with them. He had a tryout today with the New York Jets. So we might see him on that hard knocks there, right? Yeah, well, we see him week 2. Again, if he left without a deal, he worked out. My point is not just for week 2. We'll see him at the hard knocks. You might see Anthony Brown trying to try out over there. Maybe we'll see a little behind the scenes of Anthony Brown trying out. Will he take veteran minimum to come back to Dallas as our 6th cornerback?
I would be open to that, but otherwise, I do wish him the best.
Exactly. So anyway, I figure I kind of go there with the NFL news, and with always the Cowboy connection. But let's talk about Jerry Jones. Because he must be real happy. At least, I guess not. Maybe not as happy. Because the AT&T Stadium is 14 years old. It's regarded it's always been regarded as a top 5 NFL stadium, and it's still in the top 5, although it has dropped a spot. Now, in 7th is Allegiant Stadium. We're in, I think Lumen Stadium, I think was the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
That's the 5th stadium on the list. Then at&t Dallas Cowboys. The at&t Stadium is the 4th best stadium in the NFL. Lambeau Field, they're talking about environment, everything, right? Lambeau Field is 3rd. SoFi Stadium is 2nd at the Rams. And U.S. Bank Stadium for the Vikings was number 1 on this list. So if you're ever going to see a Minnesota Cowboy game in Minnesota, and it's been like that for the last 3 years, you probably were in the best, again, the best overall ambiance stadium, whatever you want to call it. So the seating capacity for at&t Stadium is 80,000, but we know it goes over 100,000 if Jerry Jones puts in the extra seats.
Yeah, there's extended seating options.
And there's the Google review by the fans is 4.7 stars out of 5. So I'm just saying it's pretty high ranked. Falls one spot. They were 3rd last year, at&t Stadium. Still one of the best venues in all of sports. Retractable roof. Doors in the roof on the side, or sometimes they're open for Sunday night, Monday night football. It's hard to find a better place to watch a game, according to the fan. Now we know Lambeau Field's ranked above them because of the ambiance of the old stadium. You're right on top of the field. It's a whole different kind of situation than at&t's about. It's a pleasure to watch.
Different type of
experience.
Energy.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have been to other stadiums. I'm a little biased since at&t Stadium is the only one I've been to, but from a fan perspective, again, it is absolutely geared towards the fan experience. Yeah. So
Jerry wins there.
They make sure that it does. You can be standing in a freaking corner of the stadium, which is impossible considering it's an oval, but you get what I mean. You can still see the game clearly. You have an excellent view. The energy is amazing.
You're taking a piss, you can watch the game. Look.
And I know I'm sure it's like that in other places and stuff like that, but it truly is an immersive experience, and it's great.
And when you're sitting there, the big screen above the field, is one of a kind. Some people do say they don't like it, though. It's a little distracting. I guess it depends where you're sitting. It opened in 2009, still compares to all the newer stadiums. So I'm saying, opened 14 years ago, still a top 5 perennial, every single year. So
I think because of the intentionally fan-focused design, those elements still hold strong.
And the money put into it from even back then, he's still thinking ahead about renovations and that kind of stuff. Look, it landed in the top 5 on 19 ballots. This according to NFL reporter Jeff Howe said, quote, Jerry Jones created a palace with a football field in the center of it. It's spacious.
That's a great way.
It's spacious. It's clean. It has great sight lines and was clearly built to last a long time.
Yeah. So like I said, the design was very intentional, and it's no surprise that pretty much every single one of the stadiums that you mentioned that's somehow above it outside of Lambeau Field, obviously, was somewhat modeled off of Cowboy designs. Again, they obviously modified it in their own way and stuff like that, but the success of at&t Stadium and, the impact it kind of had, copycats.
So, again, they're modeling it. It's about lasting long. I know the taxpayers paid a pretty penny for this stadium to be built. Parcells helped sell it, That's why Jerry brought him in.
I guess it's our stadium then, huh?
Yeah, it's a people's stadium.
Ours, yeah.
So, Jerry Jones, that's it from him. Now, I did want to say, coaching-wise, Will Blackman, he's an intern for the Cowboys right now. He said this today, quote, 1 more week as an intern and then back to the real world. Who needs a coach or a scout or a color analyst? So again, he's just saying he'll do analyst. He'll be on TV. But again, reports that he's having a great time. He's doing a great job. And Linda Wells started off as an intern for the Cowboys. So we might see Will Blackman back in the mix. I mean, I know in the NFL he's a cornerback. I think corner or safety. He'll be a defensive backs coach is what I'm trying to say. So he might be added to the mix, hired by someone soon. But he was working with the Cowboys this entire training camp, getting kind of one of the programs from the NFL. Will Blackman, he's here 1 more week, and then he's a free agent, I guess.
I was going to say, I hope he's able to take that and keep progressing forward.
Yeah. So now, let's get to the injuries, the part of things where, we really hate discussing. I wish I didn't have to say any of this crap. But Mike McCarthy spoke, and there was no update on one guy in particular that I thought kind of flew under the radar, and that was safety Sheldrick Redwine. I know you guys are like, huh? Yeah, he had a hamstring injury, and he did not return to the preseason game. Mike McCarthy did not touch on him. But he did touch about DeMarvin Overshown. I'm going to talk about him in a minute.
I'm not surprised that Redwine kind of got lost in the mix. Other injuries.
I agree. But, of course, this injury is what matters right now. And again, first and foremost, Steve Skarkasian, I can't say his name, Skarkasian.
Yeah.
He did research. He did reach out to DeMarvin Overshown after that ACL injury. and said that Overshown is quote, in good spirits. Now, that's from Sark over there. And then he also talked with defensive coordinator Dan Quinn.
Okay.
Sarkanian. And earlier in the week, but this was before the injury, earlier in the week, and he raved about how good the rookie linebacker is doing. So it just really, again, this hurts even more in this way that he would have had a great rookie year, and it would have been a great burst to his
basically, everyone
career.
and their mom was in agreement that Overshown was showing everything you wanted to see, and we all had very high expectations for what his future was going to hold this year.
After sometime today, I think it was, if I'm not wrong, it was Sky. I think that that kind of spoke with DeMarvin Overshown and emphatically said this. Overshown said this quote: "This small setback will only make next year more special." End quote. So, again, it still hurts me that I'm glad he is very high spirits, good spirits. And you got to be that way right now for him, So
I know.
Hopefully next year he really bounces back. But again, McCarthy spoke about then after just the background stuff. I just want to warm up to when McCarthy kind of gave his 2 cents on things about DeMarvin Overshown. He said, "quote He has been, frankly, you can make the argument that he's been the star of our rookie class. You can see his ability right away." He, being the star of the rookie class, he stood up in the first time he stood up in the first time he got in the meeting room and the walkthrough with his command. He was excelling at every opportunity. You feel terrible for the young man. End quote. And
I know.
Again, that's obviously we can't say any more than that. We all echo that sentiment from Mike McCarthy. Now, again, we'll talk more about Overshown in a minute because I do have very important information I want to discuss about possible replacements for his role, right? But McCarthy also spoke about tight end John Stevens, number 49. He also tore his ACL, and he said, quote, "We've got to make sure we keep our arms around both young men and support them." So again, when asked about, when McCarthy was asked, actually, this is interesting here. He was asked about the situation with Overshown and John Stevens. Does that give him pause? Does that give him hesitation when it comes to this guy? Deuce Vaughn. Maybe holding them out against the Raiders this Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. According to McCarthy, he said, quote, and again, let me say this. Another question was asked of Jalen Tolbert. And what about holding out Jalen Tolbert this week? What about holding out Deuce Vaughn this week? According to McCarthy, the bottom line was that, quote, "We have not made those decisions yet and won't make them until later this week." End quote. So, still don't know what the plan is to hold out Deuce Vaughn for this game, because that is how important he now is.
I mean, I have to imagine that
Jalen Tolbert hold him out.
It feels like McCarthy himself, I don't think, is decided. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't think it's one of those things where, like, oh, he already knows, but he's just kind of, like, lying to the media and stuff. Like, I don't think McCarthy himself has decided, because I do think that what happened this weekend is making him reevaluate some things. To me, Deuce Vaughn is like in this weird spot where I can understand why you would want to save him and not play him, but at the same time, he's too low on the totem pole to not play.
So you still say pull him in there? How about Tolbert?
No.
I got you there.
The fuck, but it's a similar thing. Like at the end, somebody has to go out there and play. So even if it's in a limited fashion, like maybe they only get a few series or something, or like the first quarter, I just don't see any of these guys having enough seniority. I mean, even guys like Mazi are going to be expected, I think, to take a few snaps.
Oh, yeah, no, Mazi, yeah, they're all going to.
I'm just saying, I mean, if our first round pick is not exempted, then yeah, I'm sorry, but our fifth, sixth receiver,
fourth
also
receiver,
not, you know what I mean, but still not exempted. So
just making sure.
As much as I would love to wrap all these, kind of in between players in bubble wrap, right? But it's the reason why we're sitting here. Yes, we're very upset about Overshown, but it's the difference between sitting here and being upset about Overshown and being upset about like
all the guys getting hurt,
or heck, even LVE.
Of course, to give that's an example, a starter gone. Right? That's like, a major loss for us.
It is a difference there. So to me, as much as I don't want to risk it, give me a viable alternative, and maybe we can talk, but we don't have one. So.
Yeah. Well, what's the chat saying real quick before I get to my discussion about Overshown here? But again, pulling Deuce, pulling Jalen Tolbert, are those options for the chat? I don't know. To me, I think we're going to see both these guys, but they haven't made the decision
Myra
yet.
Roberts said, I think Deuce is solidified. And I do have to agree that I think that Deuce is for sure the third running back on this team, along with obviously special teams player and all that stuff. So it does seem like the Cowboys have more or less made up their mind on having Dowdle also be their RB2. Sorry, Malik Davis. But I mean, I guess maybe they could go in a different direction, but based off what we've seen, not just even in the preseason games, in the practices, right? That to me is the part that also adds to my thoughts that this is the direction the Cowboys are going in.
Right.
So
he might be considered a number 2 at this point for the Cowboys. Now I don't think he'll take all the snaps if something happens to Tony Pollard.
Mr. Cowboy said Jalen Tolbert is turning heads, and I like it.
Me too. And we were calling this a little bit last year, saying I want to see him in a more I don't know, I guess a less strict, a less complex offense, and seeing him more in something that flows a little bit better and quicker and easier, so he can play, a little bit more naturally.
Follow what it is. We need to see him in a more simplified offense. It's not to say that McCarthy's running a simple offense, but again, we're not asking Tolbert to learn Russian in 6 to 8 weeks and then go out there and do it on the field.
Well, that was the Kellen Moore.
What it felt like Kellen Moore's offensive scheme was.
Yeah, and when they were still in week 8 and 9, and you got Dalton Schultz and CeeDee Lamb running into each other, is that the players or is that the coaching?
And I have to admit, you guys have been to some very hot, miserable games here in terms of Cowboys saying that he was at the pickle game. Let me see. What was it?
Game.
Raul said he was at the pickle juice game versus Philly in 2000. It was so hot, miserable, and we got blown out. Man, that's just insult. Insult to injury.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I'm curious what the chat thinks about.
Yeah, Jumps and Cowboy said, I would go to Texas Stadium often. It was fucking hot. There's no AC and closed stadium with an open roof. That meant that air didn't really circulate either. You're basically just in a weird, slow roasting little pot. Oh man, that sounds very uncomfortable. So just have to add to that too. Thomas Garrett, much love, appreciate you. What's up? So Drums and Cowboys throwing out there, Tolbert actually made key plays against their starting corner. Yeah. So, one thing that has been very pleasant, at least about our current showings here in this last week or two of preseason games, it has been very nice to see some of our depth players going up against starters. Obviously, that's not something you really get to see every day, but it's more about the fact that I think it does solidify for us, hey, guys like Tolbert, the improvements they're having, they aren't, it's not fake. It's not just because it's the backups. The improvement is legitimate, and you can see it, like you said, against starting corners, which is really the best way to actually test to see, hey, is this guy for real?
Yeah, I mean, when you have our Wanye Thomas intercepting Trevor Lawrence, when you have Geno Smith in the offense of the Seahawks getting shut down by our defense, and we're winning.
Works.
Our defense held them to 3 in 2 drives, and our offense got 7 in 2 drives. Our backups versus their starters. That is commendable as a team viewpoint there, and that's what I'm trying to say. I think people, again, it's unfortunate of the injuries. Outside of that, I think we've been seeing, these players are going to do better when they're with the starters. And they have to get in there and get in the mix as backups, They're going to have some good practice against some of these, very good starting talent from Jacksonville and Seattle.
Now, someone had asked, way, way earlier, how would I feel about bringing back Barr onto this team? Mm-hmm. I said, hell no to the no, personally. But that's just me. And the reason I bring that up is just, again, when it comes to the depth on this team, I love Overshown. I think we're all so beyond excited for Overshown. But he was not a starter. So thankfully, we're not in a position where we're trying to replace that. And the reason I say that is I think there are a handful of viable options for the Cowboys to add depth to that position. Right? And that's the big key here, right? No one we're going to bring in is going to show the potential that Overshown showed. But there are going to be maybe more of a sure thing because we know exactly what we have in them, good or bad or otherwise, right? But most importantly, they're there to play a role. They're there to add depth. They're not there to start. So that to me takes a lot of the pressure off.
Look, here's the thing. Let's talk about it because Overshown, my question comes next. Before we finish what McCarthy said, and that's pretty much the whole stream tonight, guys, just letting you know. But so you guys know what I think Overshown was going to give us this year. In my opinion, it was going to be he was going to give us maybe 10 snaps in a game, at most, as a rookie, getting not a starter, getting just some rotational role. Now, listen, by the end of the year, he might have gotten 15 snaps, 12, 15 snaps
maybe
at
in
most.
A specific game, depending on the score, maybe he played a little more.
Right, or maybe for a specific matchup, Quinn said, "Let me put him in a little. Maybe instead of 12 plays, he gets 17 plays."
Yeah.
But
and of course the one thing nobody ever wants. I guess if somebody got hurt, we would have obviously seen him quite a bit more. But just like any other young guy, we also would have seen some not so great things from that process.
Some rookie mistakes we would have seen. So how do we replace the key now, family, is how do we replace his usage on the? You're right. He's not a starter. But he would have had to play a starter if anybody gets hurt, and he would have to play some starting snaps. Not a starter, but a starting snap rotation kind of guy. So how do we fix it? So here's my thing first. You got Micah Parsons. You can just drop him back. Mm-hmm. Then you got to fix the edge rushing. We got a whole thing there. I'm not a fan of that. But you have that option, right? If you have to put him in there and replace some of those snaps of an Overshown type guy. You can get that. Can you move Micah back to 12 snaps a game to linebacker? If you do that, problem solved. Like there's nothing else to do. But you missed 12 snaps of him rushing. Maybe it's his break. Instead of getting on the sideline for those 12 snaps, he goes to linebacker those 12 snaps. I don't know. I'm just saying. So that's an option. Another option, of course, you move more safeties into you run with let's say one linebacker or two linebackers, and then you throw down Jaron Curse in the box or Donovan Wilson in the box or both in the box. They can both cover. They can both stop the run. They're hybrid linebacker type guys. That's another option there for the Cowboys. But again, now you have to mix up the whole defense a little bit. But again, not the whole game. 13 plays, 10 plays, 15 plays. You guys feel me here? So the Overshown loss is minimal to that extent. Like there's multiple ways of fixing that. But when it comes to an injury, depth, Overshown would have had to step up. You would have seen some rookie mistakes, but he would have shown a lot, I think, a lot of great stuff on that field with the explosiveness he had. So I think the good would have outweighed the bad with him, even in his rookie year. He's gone. So, an option. Now, if he gets injured, the guy has to step up, or a guy has to come in there and play these snaps. This guy can also play these snaps. We don't have to move Micah. We don't have to move the safeties as much. We can use Jabril Cox, number 14. He's got to show up. Now, he's having a good camp, but better than his best camp so far in his 3 years. But
a little ironic that you're also bringing up Jabril Cox, considering that he was in a very similar position to Overshown.
Yep.
So, if anything, this is like
his
a full
chance back.
circle type of moment. Exactly. Like off of the back of a very similar type of situation, can he step it up? Right? All these types of opportunities are usually where players get their big chances again. Their second chance, their big break. So.
And that's the thing. So, look, he has not been that. Look, he was one of the top 5 graded analytical PFF guys this game. So that's a good sign there. But I cannot entrust like the whole linebacker starting spot to Jabril Cox in my mind. Not that I could have done it with Overshown, but I had more confidence in Overshown as of now. And that's saying a lot.
Cox definitely makes me want to clench my cheeks if we're talking in that scenario. Whoa. You know what I mean? Not exactly a happy thing.
Other than him, you got, to me, okay, Malik Jefferson's back there. He's an option, I guess. You can, but he's injured. He hasn't really played in preseason. And I'll talk about him. McCarthy talks about him as far as playing this game. It's going to be hard for him to get out there to show anything for us, Malik Jefferson. But then you have number 50, was it Devin Harper? He's our 6th-round pick last year, and to me, he looked okay. He looked pretty good, but I don't think he's giving us the Overshown type snaps like that. Whether you use Curse or Wilson or Micah Parsons, that makes up for the Overshown qualities in those 15 plays. I don't see that in Devin Harper. So, we got to look at that there. Malik Jefferson, I don't see that in him either. Neither do I see it in number 14, Jabril Cox yet. He probably has the best chance, but still, we'll have to wait and see. So, after everything is said and done, all right, and Overshown is gone, and again, we got to talk about what about free agents? What about a couple of free agents out there? You guys mentioned Deion Jones earlier, Clark Kent. Very good name to put into the mix here. So I do like the connection with Dan Quinn, but I have a feeling that that's not one of the top guys on the Cowboys list right now. Again, it could change. But the reasoning was more, I think, money related now. This time passed. Will he lower his price? Will the Cowboys up their offer, up their original negotiating offer because now we're in need of some depth at linebacker possibly? We'll see. So, of course, Deion Jones is an option. But I kind of focused on 2 other guys, and one of them we know very, very, very well. Anthony Barr. The guy who basically got pushed out because of Damone Clark, who did so well last year. And so, Anthony Barr, baby, I know you said you didn't, you weren't a big support. You said, hell no. But again, I'm going to talk about Anthony Barr now, so maybe you want to listen. But the Cowboys have to take a look, to me, we must at least, even if we don't sign him, Anthony Barr is a guy that again, I don't think he replaces the Overshown snaps, but he gives us depth for Damone Clark or an LVE. So
I guess he already knows the system.
that's the thing. So listen, Anthony Barr played 14 games for us last year. He started 10 of those games. All right, Damone Clark knocked him out of it. Damone Clark's there still. He's the starter, but Anthony Barr could be the number 3. So we don't have to worry. But Jabril Cox could be maybe the Overshown snaps. But I'm just trying to say we get better at depth if we get someone like Anthony Barr. So he had 58 tackles in these 10 starts and 14 games. He had 2 tackles for loss, 2 fumble recoveries, so he's around the ball, and he registered 1 sack. All right, he is 31 years old, but to me, he looked okay. It wasn't the age that stopped him last year, in my opinion. He's still, obviously he's far from his prime, right? He's on the downslope, but again, not consistent in coverage. You just don't have to use him as a starter this year, right? You use him as a backup for 15 fucking plays for non-coverage stuff. I think we're good. Or someone gets hurt, you can go in there and put him in there, and he can do the Damone Clark and the LVE job to an extent, right? So to me, he has, again, the biggest, he's good against stopping the run. His coverage issues are the bigger situation for him. So again, we're not impressed with him last year too often, right? We were not too impressed. He was kind of low-key, kind of all right, But to me, it's a very good option for the Cowboys to consider. Like you just said, he knows Dan Quinn's system in Dallas. Immediately can be signed and put in, plug and play, no problem. A veteran of football. He's always have good, good work ethic and all that stuff. Easily, immediately provides you depth at that position. And I would say it's an insurance policy in case Jabril Cox don't work out. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Is Devin Harper better than Anthony Barr? If he is, then I guess he gets it, and then we don't need Anthony Barr.
Look, just because
I don't think it's that easy to say that.
Just because it makes the most sense doesn't mean I have to like it.
I know.
I have to admit, I'm just not a fan of Barr, but damn it makes sense.
Some sense. It bothers me too.
Like I said, I'm not saying it has to be done. I'm just saying I could understand why the Cowboys would do it.
On a team deal?
It does tick a lot of the boxes for what we're looking for. So
on a team deal, I don't see that.
Mr. Cowboy, you definitely called it earlier, but I'm still sticking by my original feeling. I don't necessarily have to like it, even if it is the best move for the Cowboys. And damn it,
Anthony Barr is the immediate easy choice if you're going to go with something familiar. That's the way I look at that. And it's not, I don't think it's, you get him for the right, if he's asking for $4 million, you say hell no. No one's paying $4 million right now for him. But if he's saying $2 million, you think about it a little more, although again,
Party with the Stars
as a backup,
it's worth a try. I mean,
as a backup, the Cowboys probably won't pay the $2 million. They want to pay minimum for a backup. So keep that in mind as well. Now,
I could see him being a little bit open to negotiation to play with the Cowboys again, since if he enjoyed it, and obviously if we're a contending team.
To me, it's about the guarantees and what it maxes out to. Like, what's the incentives for?
Sure.
If he gets $2 million base and it's fully guaranteed, and he can get $3.5 million, I'm cool with that, because if we need him, then let's fucking put him in there. I hope he can play. I wouldn't
mind if the Cowboys paid him a slightly cheaper contract, even if they guaranteed more of it.
Correct. Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. So guarantee the base, and then and then give him some incentives that are realistic, and then see what happens. Meaning that if he doesn't start too much, then he's not gonna get that. He's gonna get his $2 million and maybe $2.5 million. That's it.
Now, Cactus, you said unequivocally no
on
Barr and
Peters.
Peters.
And Peters on offensive line.
Which is kind of funny.
We've talked about him.
I actually feel the opposite. I'm still trying to figure out why the Cowboys feel like Peters he's so fragile he can't hold up as a backup. Even that's the part that kind of is a little confusing to me. But maybe I'm just saying, maybe there's more to it. I have to imagine it's maybe some O-line coach situation too. Like maybe they're like, nah, rather not. So Hector Golon said, only way that Barr comes back is if he pays some of the money that he ran away with. You said it, not me, but again, if the Cowboys just want somebody they can throw in there without having to coach them, having to think about them, basically just like toss them in the basement and only dig up their body when you need it, sure.
Look, I'm going to also say this, and a point we always bring up here in MCF, and you always brought it up too. How many times we sign back guys that are gone? I mean, we usually don't go back for repeats, for sloppy seconds. So we usually when we break, we burn the bridge. It's all.
There's a reason you broke up with them in the first place.
So if it's not him, Anthony Barr, and it's not Deion Jones, let's just I didn't really dive deep into him.
Someone mentioned that he signed.
Deion, that's what I thought. Thank you for that.
Who was that? Yeah, Thomas Garrett. Thank you. Yeah, Deion Jones signed with the Panthers.
Okay,
thank you so much.
That's why I didn't bring him up, because to me he's not even available, right? Or else I would definitely brought him up.
Yeah, Jalen Smith signed with the
Saints. Saints. Yeah, he signed with the Saints.
Sorry, Anthony Brown visited the Jets. That's where I got a little confused.
And
for
the
a
Ravens.
Former Cowboys.
There's a name out there I still like. Now, this might cost a little more than Anthony Barr, but I like this guy, formerly of Tampa Bay, and his name is Rashaan Evans. I've always loved Rashaan Evans. Now, this to me is a starter at this point. Now you're getting a guy in there that might push Damone Clark to the backup role. So that's going to be a no from Jerry Jones. But again, the former 22nd overall pick of 2018's draft would provide immediate depth for the Cowboys at the linebacker position. He was drafted by the Tennessee Titans, Rashaan Evans. I remember we were there for that draft, and I liked this pick by Tennessee. They play with them. He played 4 years with Tennessee. Then last year he spent it with the Falcons. All right, he produced a career best year with the Falcons. And I don't know why I said Rashaan Evans from Tampa Bay. I don't know why I said that. I got confused there. I do remember Rashaan Evans from Tennessee, and I just got the T's confused there. But Tennessee Titans linebacker went to the Falcons last year. He produced, again, this is of course not with Dan Quinn, but he was there last year. He started 17 games. Probably had a career best year with that in his career as far as playing last year with the Falcons. He started 17 games. He had 159 total tackles, 2 fumble recoveries, 2 sacks, and 6 tackles for loss. Now, another key here, of course, only 27 years old. Could be a productive option if the Cowboys, this year decide that we need to add some more depth to this team. So to me, Rashaan Evans would be, I don't want to say he's a starter. We would definitely put him in he would definitely be our third guy. All right, let me rephrase that. But I do think that it makes me breathe a lot peacefully, a lot more peaceful if we have a Rashaan Evans as our third linebacker. The only thing for me is it's so close at the end, and we're going to really pick him up. He's still out there. He's still floating around. I'm curious what his number is going to be as far as what he's asking for. And again, like I said, the Cowboys might not sign anybody and just say, you know what, we're going to just stick with LVE, Damone Clark, Jabril Cox, and Devin Harper. And maybe Malik Jefferson sneaking in there, okay? And you always got, Micah Parsons on the edge. You got, coming back to linebacker. You got Curson Wilson that could play some hybrid linebacker. So these are the things the options here for the replacing snaps and depth that Overshown would have given us. What do you think, baby? What does the chat think? I mean, again, Rashaan Evans from Tennessee / Atlanta last year.
I mean, I like it a lot more than Barr. That's
sure. And I know, and that's the thing. I agree with you there. I am a big time fan of Evans.
The reason we like it more, and the same reason why he's worth more. So
I think because he's younger and because he has maybe a higher upside. He has best year last year. That could raise his value up a little bit.
Part of the problem too is that again, the Cowboys don't see. It's not like we need a forever investment. You know what I mean? We really do just need a guy for right now. And I think that Rashaan Evans, while he does fit the bill as a right now type of guy, is for some reason I just don't think it fits the Cowboys. Does that make sense? Like front office wise, not team wise. Because I think team wise he'd be a great addition. I think Quinn would love him. I think he'd be a great backup. All that stuff is not what I mean. I think the front office does not seem like Rashaan Evans is a guy they would be interested in. Which is disappointing because, like I said, I actually like him a lot more than Barr here, even if it is a little bit more money.
I think Evans,
it's not even that much more.
Evans would give us, I think, a little bit more of the Overshown attitude, the Overshown burst than someone like Anthony Barr would. So, it's really what you're looking for at linebacker.
Barr had half a foot in the retirement home last year already, and I don't say that to be rude or disrespectful.
I know you mean,
just to
man.
say
He
that,
just seemed a little bit
someone in the chat said it too. His time passed. No more Barr. Time for
that's my thing. I think let's just say Evans is like Barr. This is like the prime of this player. So you'll probably get a couple good years out of him, and he'll turn into Barr. You know what I'm saying? For Evans, Evans.
That to me
that's all we
comes
need.
With a price tag that I don't see the Cowboys willing to pay.
And I agree. So I think the Cowboys going to stick with our own guys. That's what I think we're going to do, and just roll with that, and roll with the combination of 3 other guys outside of the actual linebackers like Micah Parsons, Jaron Curse, and Donovan Wilson to help in those roles in trying to fill in Overshown's role and maybe fill in some of the linebacker snaps. Hopefully, knock on wood, no need for any of that because guess what? We have no injuries and we're good to go. That's the hope here going forward. So that's it. I think that's it for that portion of things. Going back to McCarthy, guys, and I do want to say that when it comes to McCarthy, he brought up a couple other injuries for this upcoming Raider game. And by the way, in case you're wondering, the logo for this week for Las Vegas is right here. Make sure you get those bags on their heads because, yeah.
That's right. Let me drop them in the chat.
Those new emojis in there. The wife here saying it, yes. She's repping it. The Las Vegas. Not the Oakland, not Los Angeles, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
The bagheads. Whatever. Either way. So for this game, McCarthy talked about Matt Waletzko, the other injured guy, right, in the mix here. He said, quote, Matt has a chance to play. So that's a good sign for Matt Waletzko coming back from that shoulder subluxation, the opposite shoulder of his surgery last year. So he looks like he will get a chance to maybe eke in there some snaps against the Raiders.
Mentioned when he got injured that it was a day-by-day injury.
Yes,
so
yes.
basically just keep an eye on it day by day.
Exactly. So I think it looks good. And again, somebody who needs to get snaps in there to show what he can do, yeah, he needs to get in there. So a guy who also needs to go in there and show what he can do is a guy that maybe won't be able to, and that's Ronald Jones. Again, suspended the first 2 games of the regular season for the PED situation. He's not played in preseason at all. According to McCarthy, he said Ronald Jones will, quote, he has that groin injury, quote, will be challenged to be ready this week against the Raiders. So no snaps for Ronald Jones. That means the 4 guys, as we know, that no Pollard, no Jones. That means it's, Rico Dowdle, we got, number 23, you got number 34, Malik Davis. You're going to, of course, have number 42, Deuce Vaughn. Deuce is loose. And number 43, Tyler Lipke. So the fullback, the undrafted guy. So again, that's going to be the snaps going there. Nothing going to Ronald Jones. Very challenging this week to get him out there to play. It looks like he's not going to be out there. Now, what about Malik Jefferson? All right, and don't have Malik out here, but Malik Jefferson, according to McCarthy, when it comes to our linebacker depth, Malik Jefferson is a quote from McCarthy. Quote, Malik Jefferson is going to be hard-pressed to make it back this week. He has a foot sprain. Not good for Mr. Malik Jefferson.
Look at all these bumps and bruises now.
So again, what he basically mentioned was this. This is what McCarthy said, quote, this is a great opportunity for Jabril Cox, Devin Harper, and Tyrus Wheat. So we will keep an eye on these guys, specifically Jabril Cox and Harper, to see if they can stand out a little bit. If they can just stand out a little bit, we would love that. Number 14, Jabril Cox. Number 50, Devin Harper. I think Tyrus Wheat is 91? Maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway, Mike McCarthy also spoke, when he spoke about both these guys, Malik Jefferson with the foot injury, Ronald Jones with the groin injury, they're not going to probably play. It's going to be very difficult for either guy to play on Saturday. McCarthy also said he was, let me put McCarthy back up here.
Where's the big bubble?
Yeah, McCarthy said that, quote, not ready to talk playtime for anybody until after Wednesday's practice. So, again, guys, after Wednesday's practice, we will hear more about the division of splitting time to the 4 running backs and the linebackers and how they're going to run that stuff. So, we'll keep an eye on that, of course, as we always do. Another injury to quickly kind of touch on an update, more injury news here. How about Jordan Lewis, the J. Lou 2s, which, by the way,
we still haven't really heard an update on that, have we?
We only had Clark, Mother effing Ken, drop the $2 holler here, and one by Mr. Jason Renfro. But the 2 J. Lou holler right there, according to the question asked to McCarthy, when will he be coming off the PUP list? He's still on the PUP list, right? Physically unable to perform list. McCarthy said, quote, Jordan's done a phenomenal job in the workouts, but we'll continue to monitor this. He's pushing it. So McCarthy kind of mentioned this is one of the.
That means he's close.
Yeah, but this is one of the difficult challenges about the 53-man squad right now. This is what he said. This is one of the issues there. He said, "quote done phenomenal jobs, but basically he said it's going to be a numbers game at the basically is what he implied that at cornerback because we only have so many spots. So he kind of
he stays on the PUP list.
Exactly,
maybe.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He implied. Maybe the best bet would be basically to stay on the PUP list for him right now and maybe miss the first 3 weeks or 6 weeks of the season.
Maybe that's another reason why, maybe he is closer to the end of his rehab than we think, but he's just taking a sweet-ass time with it.
Again, well, he's doing it on purpose. It's one of the biggest fractures that his doctors have seen in 35 years. So Jordan Lewis, it might really need the extra care right now, but it just seems like, to me, I think the Cowboys are expecting him to stay on the PUP list and miss the first, 3 weeks or 6 weeks of the season? I think it's 6 weeks. So we'll see what happens. But it saves us a 53 spot, and we have 6 weeks to kind of hold that spot open for Jordan Lewis with another player, right? Mm-hmm. So now, McCarthy also spoke about that offensive line and kind of everything going down with with these 5 starters on this offensive line, which to me, is going to be the first time they're going to really be all together, right? The first time since last training camp that the Cowboys starting line will be together is when they practice tomorrow. Yes, I'm saying this, guys, because we will be going, of course, going live, but we will be talking about our 3 practices here back to back to back, 3 in a row. If you're in Dallas, you go watch them there, guys, live right there at the Star in Frisco. So the Cowboys starting line will be practicing now. Remember, Zach Martin had a week acclimation. He's now going to be hitting now. He's going to be hitting and doing drills, like real drills. So we get to see the real Zach Martin on that field now. He's going to stand up. So they're all going to be practicing together as the starting 5. Tyron Smith, Terrence Steele, Zach Martin. These 3 guys were not there all the time. They were in and out, and of course, Zach Martin was not even there. Terrence Steele was limited. So was Tyron Smith. Only Biotish and he had a little foot roll, and Tyler Smith were the only guys that are kind of there most of the time. Now we're going to get all 5 of them together playing a lot the team drills right now during this week in practice. So keep an eye out, guys. This is probably the closest you're going to see to the reality of what's coming out week 1. The closest, not the reality, but the closest to the reality. McCarthy is focused. He's extremely focused right now that there is more concerns at the depth than at the starting spots. The starters, he feels good about everything going on, the play, the way they react to the plays on offense and defense. His issue is depth right now. He's fearing the depth issue could come back and bite us in the ass. I don't blame him. What did he say, baby, about that?
He said, my focus really more is getting our starting 5 on the field together for the first time in a team period since last year. So I'm more focused on these next couple of practices, getting Zach back into it, getting him work, and then with Tyron and Tyler, and then Tyler Smith and Terrence. So you only have so much time and how much work that we need to get done, so you have to just stay the course. Well, again, there's only so much McCarthy to go around.
I mean, he's not. Again, we know we want to keep them together, keep the cohesiveness there, right? And also, we want to, have as much. I guess you could say starting reps. I guess question mark there. With our 5 guys.
I think starting reps is a
good way
of saying it. Yeah. So Mike McCarthy also added in there a little blurb about Rico Dowdle, who obviously is on our minds quite a bit as we continue to talk about our running back situation. He said, quote, I've been impressed with Rico since my first year. I love his running style. He runs angry. He pass protects with a lot of urgency, and he sticks his nose in there. I think we're just seeing Rico finally healthy. Which,
you can tell where the Cowboys,
what the team has done.
Yeah, the last 2 years he's been injured. Rico's been banged up the last 2 years of the hip injury. Now he's healthy. Other than the fumble, he's looked like the better running back between him and Malik Davis. And the Cowboys been favoring Dowdle the whole time, so he's gonna get that. He's gonna get that second spot, I think, as long as he has a good, solid last and final third game here and stays healthy. Jason Renfro staying healthy with that $2 J. Lou holler right there. And by the way, he didn't just drop it there because he dropped another dollar holler. I'm gonna put it right up here in the Cash App, and he said in the Cash App, giving some love. Go Cowboys! Much love, Jason Renfro.
Much love.
Now piling it on with that $2 drop and taking Stubby's numbers from wherever he was to 17 points now on that board. Jason Renfro with the $2 J. Lou holler. What did he say?
He said, it's bobblehead night in the live stream. Go Cowboys.
Yes, it is. We got our cartoon bobbleheads here tonight.
Bobbleheads for the bubblehead. And by that, I mean Mike McCarthy. The big bubble.
The big bubble. Jason Renfro. He's in first place, by the way. Of course, Cash App first place, but overall first place. Right now the gifting, there's nobody there, and there's nobody. Actually, we got everybody on the board on some other parts other than that. But appreciate you, Jason, and go Cowboys. Now, I know you spoke about his thoughts about Rico Dowdle. I'm expecting to see Rico be the number 2 running back for this team. In the sense of, like, if Tony Pollard goes down, I don't think Deuce is taking over a full role there. I think that Rico or Malik Davis would be that guy. Deuce still will have his same role or similar role. Maybe, of course, a couple extra snaps at that point. But I feel good about Rico Dowdle as long as he doesn't fumble. Fumble. That's the big issue. If he fumbles, Jimmy Johnson would have cut your ass. If you would have been cut the next day if your name wasn't Emmitt Smith if you fumbled the ball. So, yeah, no fumbling from Rico Dowdle, and he should be good to go. Another position that we're very concerned about, baby, is kicker.
Yes.
Right?
Although
McCarthy was asked about Brandon Aubrey.
I guess McCarthy is not as worried, at least if this comment
I'm
anything
worried.
to go by.
What did he say about Brandon Aubrey,
Yeah,
our
he
kicker?
said that, quote, he's impressed with every opportunity he's had. We'll see what this week brings.
He had one kick. He missed an extra point. Come on, McCarthy. Stop selling us bullshit. Come on, Mike.
The problem with
Mickey
Aubrey,
D.
the problem with Aubrey is that more or less since we got rid of Vizcaino, he hasn't quite done bad enough to get completely fired, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think he's necessarily done well enough to start him and then just give him the job, but what the fuck do I know? But I have to admit, past the Vizcaino, once we moved on from him, because him and Vizcaino together, I think we're just feeding off each other's negative energy or something. But yeah, pretty much since then, he's, again, just has not quite fucked up enough yet. Maybe we got to give it a little more time. That's what this week is for. Maybe.
No.
Or not.
Well, no, I'm saying...
I'm just saying, it's either that or he's a Cowboy. Welcome to the team.
I hate that because the fact that he's not getting any opportunities to miss, which I think he will miss, is going to keep Jerry Jones from signing anybody else, keeping us from signing Mason Crosby or someone like that. And that's what bothers me.
I know I touched on this a few days ago, but keep in mind that if the Cowboys do decide to do any kind of like hard pivot on the kicker situation, if they grab any veteran out there, they're going to be more or less fine. So I think for the Cowboys, it's a bit of a win-win because it's either, hey, this young guy that we like does what we want him to do, or if he doesn't work out, we'll just grab a veteran and throw him in there.
That's what Jerry's already said. He said we'll do it after the third preseason game. Well, if he kicks one extra point a game, if he kicks one extra point a game, then that ain't that good, right? I don't know. Look, I want to take a look at a couple last things here on defense, and McCarthy actually touched on this when it comes to Mazi Smith. And but before I even get to Mazi Smith, again, you're gonna see. I'm gonna actually put up here, baby, the actual video from this pregame and all that good stuff, and I'll move Mike McCarthy out the way. He's kind of done talking for the day, but he has one more quote about Mazi Smith, and Mazi Smith is really the topic here for a moment. So let me just say this: you'll see Mazi getting blocked out of the freaking play multiple times, and I put this as a short. I have it in this video. So Mazi Smith, guys, when you look at him and look at Osa Odigizua, who's in his third year as a defensive tackle, Mazi's rookie year, of course, as defensive tackle, right? When you look at them both in the same alignment, and there was a couple different situations in this game against Seattle that they were in the same alignment, but they were, but they had different outcomes. Mazi was getting blocked and washed out, and Osa Odigizua against the same run concept versus the same offensive line. It was not anybody different. It was the same offensive line. Was completely much better than Mazi Smith at getting penetration. Different level of snap timing. That's one of the big hits on Mazi. He's a little too slow off the ball, off the snap. So that was one of the issues that you can obviously see that made a difference when it came to why Osa was so much faster and better. Because he was faster. You know what I'm saying? So he was able to do more damage, getting past that offensive line, that same offensive line. The hand placement. Osa's hand placement was better than Mazi's initial hand placement. So the eyes, processing, the reading of the keys, Osa did it much quicker. Mazi was much slower with the reads. And McCarthy spoke about Mazi Smith. So that was my kind of, I saw some people bringing up some of these comments about Mazi Smith, and it's very true. I think it's very accurate and very true. And as you see this video here, which again, here you're seeing Sam Williams, you're seeing the defensive edge players and linemen. There's Junior Fahoko. Now you're gonna see Mazi now coming up here doing the drill. Right here is Mazi, and now you're gonna see him getting blocked really bad out of the play. So watch the video as you hear what McCarthy said about Mazi right now after this game.
Yeah. So McCarthy said, "Quote: You look at the way that he graded out. There were some plays that he'll definitely learn from. You've got to remember he's still a first-year player. I think when you look at his overall camp, I think he's had a good to solid camp. This week will be another opportunity for him. He's like all the rookies. He needs to play. He needs time on task, and I would definitely put him in that category."
Yeah, so again, now we're looking at Tolbert here doing his 4 catches. Great job from him. But
like I said, I can't believe that Mike McCarthy basically had to explain, yes, players
he's a rookie
have to develop
in his second damn game. And again, he even go into the details about, defensive linemen take a little longer to develop. People don't get this. They just think it just happens and you that's it. And they have to look at
Twister. said give him time to develop. Monroe Godet said it. Mazi was not drafted to be a pass rusher from the
Correct.
start.
People want to see sacks and they want to see stats and they don't understand what he's going to bring is something completely different. It's going to be letting everybody else get stats.
But part of the problem too, it's not even about their desired positions. Part of it too is, let's be honest, Mazi does have that first round pick tag.
That's true.
Next to his name wherever he goes. So I think a lot of Cowboy fans, it doesn't matter if you're picking with the first pick or the 32nd pick. They want the same type of impact that a first round pick.
Right. Yeah. You want to see the splash stats.
And that's just not.
That's not what you're going to see. I knew that when we drafted. I knew that when we drafted him.
Party with the stars saying, "Don't forget, we got a fullback." Now, I'm not sure how long this fullback will last, but I know the general plan is to use our tight ends, to kind of help with a lot of those blocking situations.
Yeah, I mean, we have Tyler Lipke is only going to be on this team one more week, maybe practice squad. But the Cowboys haven't used him too much. He's done. The only thing he's done really well is pass protection. But I don't think they can keep him just for that, and he can't really do the other thing. He really hasn't had the opportunity either. But
yeah, that sounds a little difficult to.
Yeah. He's a practice squad guy
to work out. So, let me see.
Any thoughts on the Mazi thing in the chat, or should I just?
I kind of said that, but Party with the Star said Mazi's 22 years old. He's a grown baby. Just give him time.
Exactly, 100%, no doubt.
I'm just a baby. Oh, so Stephen Weiss said Hunter Liebke. Unfortunately, it does seem like Hunter will not be maybe a Dallas Cowboy for too much longer, but we'll have to see.
Or practice squad. He might be in the practice squad. I think the Cowboys, if they keep him, he'll be cut and then repicked up, no problem there in the practice squad.
So now Drums and Cowboys with again one of the few, like I said, more legitimate concerns here. We'll touch on this as we wrap things up. He said, my concern is that it's okay not to get sacks, but he's being manhandled and thrown from the play. Like, that's the part that concerns him. Not so much the lack of sacks.
I think the whole getting thrown stuff is more about being out of position and just he's going to learn the speed of the NFL. I think that's the development part. I think every guy other than Aaron Donald it's been drafted in the first round or second round or in any round at defensive tackle. They get thrown around in the NFL in the first handful of weeks of real competition. So it's going to happen, right? You got to let them develop. That's why you don't want them starting right away, probably. You want them coming in there maybe, in some rotational packages and getting the feel of it, as it does take some time to develop if you're not a unbelievable superstar like Aaron Donald. So I hear you, but I also think that, in time, it's gonna come clear to him, and it's going to be hopefully sooner than later. Can he still play some snaps? Hell yeah. Can he play as a starter full-time? Hell no. Not yet. And he's definitely not a 3-down guy yet. That's the pass rush side of things.
Yeah.
So, anyways, great thoughts there. I do want to kind of finish up with a couple of guys here on defense. Isaiah Land. I know a lot of people talking about Isaiah Land. I think it's an overhype, and I'm not saying this in a bad way. I think they're overhyping Isaiah Land to a point where it's like he's not going to be a starter. He's playing against fifth stringers.
Yeah, you just want everybody to manage their expectations properly.
I think Isaiah Land, listen, let's be honest. Right now in this preseason world, he is currently tied for third in the NFL among all edge rushers. And he's second among all rookie edge rushers in total pressures right now with 8. Fantastic. In 2 games, he got 8 pressures. But, again, he shows something. To me, he might make the 53. Definitely, I don't know if he'll get back to us if we cut him and try to get him out in the practice squad. Someone's going to pick him up, possibly. But still, manage expectations here. He's not going to come in and be a starter. Now, the question then comes, do you want to cut him for someone like Chauncey Golston, who definitely is going to get picked up if he's cut? So that's a question the Cowboys got to figure out. You got Junior Fehoko, who we drafted. This guy was undrafted, and you're gonna, you're gonna cut Junior Fehoko? No, it's not gonna happen. So Isaiah Land, though, is you got to look at him. He's tied for 6th among all defensive players in pass rush win rate at 24% per run. One out of every 4 plays, he's getting, he's winning the pass rush battle there at the line of scrimmage. Again, against 4th and 5th stringers. But still, his 32% pressure rate, that ranks 2nd in the NFL right now. You get to have a minimum of 20 pass rushing snaps in 2 games. So obviously Isaiah Land is looking great in the context of, depth-wise. I hope we can find a way of keeping him. He might not make it back to us if we cut him and put him in the practice squad. Then, again, the question comes down, do you cut Chauncey Golston, who's been on this team now? He's entering his 3rd year now. Is it 3rd year, 4th year? And you got Isaiah Land, who's just an undrafted guy who's showing a little promise against depth of depth, right? So that's a big question to me. I don't know how you feel about that, but when it comes to Isaiah Land, to me,
like I said, I think that it's easy, like you said, to look at a guy like Isaiah Land and say, oh yeah, he's really doing something. He was doing it against the deepest of depths. So, like, again, I feel like my line for tonight is manage expectations.
No, I mean,
so
I just think
at least at Land, again, manage expectations.
I think people are putting
practice squad, right?
That's what I'm trying to say. I don't think he won't get back to a practice squad. That's why you have to cut the right guy. That's what I'm saying. Do you cut someone like Chauncey Golston, or give me another name out there you would cut? And then, for Isaiah Land.
Land is going to make the team.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying he won't make it, but he'll be the 53rd. And I'm also saying that you got to look at who's going to be. He's going to be a pass rusher. So who's our pass rushers right now, right?
Lost in translation. What's up? Much love. Which, by the way, kind of funny because that was the movie we were watching earlier tonight.
Yeah. So I do want to say something to everybody, and Thomas as well. Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dorrance Armstrong, Fowler, Sam Williams. That's 5 guys. You can add one more in there at the edge. Who is going to be? Will it be Chauncey Golston? Will it be Junior Fehoko? Will it be Isaiah Land? So I'm not saying he's not going to make it. I'm saying that I just want to manage expectations. He's not going to come in there and be a dominating starter like a lot of people are starting to kind of get like, oh, yeah, this guy's going to tear up the NFL. Calm down. He ain't going to tear up the NFL yet. All right, guys? I'm being real with you. Give him some time to play against first stringers. If he was going to tear up the NFL, you'd see him with the first string team tearing up our second string offensive line. Instead, he's with the third stringers and fourth stringers tearing up our fourth stringers on our offensive line and third stringers. So if he was doing something that was really spectacular, we would know he might make the team, but based off of maybe, letting one of our, I'd say veterans, but one of our, older Cowboys here on the team, letting one of those guys go and kind of being done with them. So, interesting conversation for sure. I got one more guy to talk about after Isaiah Land. I don't know if anyone has any comments on that. I love the discussion.
So Alex said Land will land on another team if we cut him.
And that's why you got to cut someone you really don't want. You really know that either he's going to make it back, or that's why you don't cut Isaiah Land. But if you do, he ain't going to get him back probably. But he's also not a starter. He's our 6th defensive edge rusher at best. At best, so again. That's if he makes the team. If he's not, then he's our 7th. Whoever we keep in front of him, if we even get him back on the, after the waivers and stuff. Which I don't think we will. So that's my question. Like, what do you do there? Decision time for the Cowboys. To figure out what they're going to do. Maybe Junior Fehoko goes on the out list for the first 6 weeks, and we keep that spot open for Isaiah Land to maybe make a mark. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw out some ideas because you got to have ideas. When you're looking at we got 5 out of our 6 spots solidified on this defense, on the edge rushing, and that's Isaiah Land's, position. Mm-hmm. So, let
me see. Gabe AI, hopefully I have that right, saying Seahawks always be hurting the Cowboys during preseason. I don't know about that.
Some with that. Well, they're always doing something. I mean, Romo, we talked about it. It's that turf out there, that stadium. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like in general, just our face-offs against the Seahawks tend to be very contentious. Right, just because even just the last handful of regular season games that we had against them, and even that playoff game we had against them, you know what I mean? Like It's that not as full out as some of the NFC East rivalries, but I would say probably one of the definitely rowdier teams that we face off against. So now with that said, I'm gonna do a few more shout outs here, read a few comments, and then start.
Yeah.
I know you have one more thing to touch on.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up here in a second. I do want to remind everybody to hit
like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You guys can follow us all on social media, pretty much anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily. Make sure to also hop in our Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below. And we have to give the shout-outs, the love, the appreciation to the man running things back to back here. The sponsor of the week, the Cash App King, Snug X.
You know why he's here.
Yes, we do.
Much love to Snug X, the man Snug X. Kicking off the week, back-to-back champion, and, always repping that star for everything. But the leader right now on the overall board, the leader in the Cash App, it's Jason Renfro, baby. He's running the board right now. Much love to Jason Renfro on that side. He's also got the 3-peat win there in the gifting membership board. And right now, that no one's leading there right now. And Stubby's got the 17 points, holding that down. Dennis Houston, their receiver style, for Stubby 1085 on our stream boss. Much love to Jason Renfro and Clark Mother effing Kent, dropping the love from above tonight. And as we get into the end of this, I do want to say, as far as Isaiah Land is concerned, baby, I want to make sure I tell people this. I'm not saying he's not going to make the team. I do not. That was you saying that about practice squad. I think it's going to be hard to get him on our practice squad because I think somebody will pick him up. But Isaiah Land, I think he is a guy that you can find a way to keep if you're willing to cut. And I'm willing to cut these guys. I just don't know if the Cowboys are ready yet. If you're willing to cut Chauncey Golston, a guy who the Cowboys have spent draft pick and time investing in development in him. That's up to Dan Quinn / the front office, who might overrule Dan Quinn. So we'll see. Isaiah Land, though, fantastic against the third and fourth stringers of NFL quality guys. So there's no doubt that he has potential. Is my point. But also, I always got to say with Isaiah Land, you got to remember he's still not going to be a starter anytime soon. Probably in the NFL is my point, not just the Cowboys. Now, the last guy I wanted to quickly discuss, baby, is Kelvin Joseph, number one. Has that situation last year and hasn't gotten in trouble with the NFL yet. So he's still with the Cowboys, and I think he's going to make the team. He's allowed just one catch in both preseason games. One catch for 13 yards. He's been targeted 6 times, all right, in this preseason. So fantastic numbers for him. He's still 23 years old. And it seems like maybe, just like the Isaiah Land against lesser competition, Kelvin Joseph maybe seeing things a little better against lesser competition. I hope he can take that on to the next level. We talked about him playing some of that slot corner, using that quickness. So we'll see if he can put it together. It's really the special teams that kind of keeps him on the team, in my mind, when it comes to someone like Kelvin Joseph. You also remember, Kelvin Joseph finished with a game high against Seattle. Game high, 2 forced incompletions. He was targeted 3 times. And then allowed 1 catch there. The Cowboys are going to have some tough decisions. And this goes to Isaiah Land, and this goes to Kelvin Joseph. A lot of tough decisions to cut, to make cuts or keep guys on the 53, especially you can say in this scenario in the secondary. As we know, we got Jordan Lewis at our 4th guy there. Eric Scott in the mix. You got Nashawn Wright. You got Israel Mukuamu, who's more of a safety. Of course, C.J. Goodwin, Kelvin Joseph. I'm just saying, there's a lot of corners back there after our starting 4. So, if Jay Lou is moved to the, PUP and he's not going to take a spot, then you have still a good 3, cornerback spots to fight for there. And Kelvin Joseph, Nashawn Wright, Eric Scott Jr., a couple of names that are sitting in the mix there to try to win that win a spot there in our secondary. It's going to be tough, though, to keep everybody. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I did want to say one last thing, maybe tomorrow, August 22nd, and the 23rd, and the 24th, there's the last final training camp practices, and they're all at the Star in Frisco. So if you want to see the Cowboys live, here's your chance in training camp. It's not Oxnard. It's here back in Big D, basically. Tuesday, August 22nd, tomorrow, the opening ceremony. There's going to be a special opening ceremony tomorrow at 5:15 Central Time p.m. The practice actually begins at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. here for us here on the East Coast. So we're going to be doing things maybe a little later tomorrow. The second practice also starts at 6 Central Time. And the third practice is at 1:30 in the afternoon, guys. Frisco time. A little harder for people to make that one. But still, that's going to be the 3 practice dates left this week. And bank on one of these 3 practices being, just helmets and shorts. It's not going to be a hitting practice. One of these 3. They're not going to have 3 hitting practices in a row. Keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. So get ready to see that happen there for tomorrow for our Cowboys. And get ready to see us discuss this about our Cowboys tomorrow. So stay tuned for more news, info, and updates from us here at MCF and Dallas Cowboys. All about our Cowboys. You know how we do this. And I do want to shout out. We did our shout outs already. So we're not doing the shout outs again. As far as people representing the board. But I do want to shout out Skeptical Fan one more time, baby.
Yes, because
it's Navy Blue. So, baby, hit him up. Who's in the chat? Last, I guess, shout-outs, of course, but any comment you can throw in there as well. Let's hear it, and let's say goodnight here on MCF.
So let me see here. Roland Rodriguez, much love. Yes, please stay safe out there. I know it's getting windy. So 6-8, have a great night. Take it easy. Lost in Translation said, can we swap out his ACL for Overshown's?
I'm down.
Honestly, I feel like maybe that's the next technological advancement. Like just full on
Fans will start giving up their
tendon replace. Yeah, I would volunteer my ACL for a Cowboy.
Yeah, Overshown back on the field ASAP.
So, let me see. Oh, sorry, that cracked me up a little bit there. Game AI, Alex, take it easy. Thomas Garrett, the superior. Garrett, we have, let's see, Alex, Stephen White, Party with the Stars, Hector Golong, Drums and Cowboys, Monroe Gadet in the house, Texas Twister, Cactus G, Stephen White. Let me see. No, just Daniel Berry Sports, of course, Jason Renfro, the man himself, Landlord from Anaconda, Captain DCW, Frame Rippers. Let me see.
Yeah, he caught it. He caught it. Frame Rippers. Voodoo got in here. Sometimes you don't get the notifications. I'm glad it's working.
I know. It gets a little dumb sometimes. Let me see. Lupe, Mary Alvarez. So, yeah. So, that's...
Freedom First.
That's about as far back as I can go here on my side.
Yes, baby. You know why we do this each and every night here in My Cowboys Family, right here in MCF. Tell them why we do this each and every night
I think I have
on the
an idea.
constant. Tell me why.
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
It's about that. Yes, that star over everything. It's also, no matter what happens here on this channel, win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly, here we're repping that star over everything. Never forget, here for 6 years plus on My Cowboys Family, our 7th season doing this thing. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, here on My Cowboys Family, say it with us. Go Cowboys! Let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you for dropping the knowledge in the chat, guys, all night long. Cannot do this without you. Your commentary in the chat. Also can't do this without your love from above. Memberships, Clark, Mother effing Kent, Jason Renfro, everybody. Appreciate you guys, best fans of all YouTube. On that note, it is time to clock out. Drop out of here for the night, relock and reload for another show tomorrow. Stay tuned, get your notifications on. You will see some videos dropping throughout the day, so get ready for that. Right around the corner, guys, here on My Cowboys Family. So prepare for that, this final run this week as we get ready for the Raider game. And we'll be dropping, again here, guys, some videos. Our live stream, as always, right back at it tomorrow once again. So before we can drop out for the night, let them know what we got to do, baby.
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. Beat's been dropped. And it's a wrap here at My Cowboys Family. Let's remember, hit that like, hit subscribe if you haven't yet, and hit that notification bell so we can continue growing this thing on the road to 27 and beyond, 27K. And on that road to 6 and beyond. That's the hope, guys. Thank you for joining us here for another Cowboys chat. Yes. Talked about Jalen Tolbert, Mike McCarthy, about Deuce. Should they play these guys? Well, after the Overshown injury, we discussed it. We talked about Mazi and the situation with him. We talked about some replacement possibilities for Overshown out there in free agency and also in our own team. We discussed all this and so much more right here on MCF. It's always about that navy blue, that silver too, and yes, that star always over everything. Never ever forget the number one thing right here on My Cowboys Family. Much love to everyone in the house for joining us on the nightly. Appreciate you all. See you, everyone, tomorrow for another one. And the videos being dropped here of our practice back home in Frisco at the Star. Thank you all once again. Have a great night. Stay safe. Peace out. And oh yeah, never ever forget, go Cowboys!
Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat. Monk on the beat.